Welcome back, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr. And today we are talking about the Yankees. Unfortunately, I almost said winning, losing because I got so used to us winning, and now we're losing. 3-0 was the score. Blue Jays win, and really this game was just kind of hideous. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. The Blue Jays, Kikuchi, who you called quote unquote Pooty Cheeks, was not
Kabuti.
that. Yeah, he was really good. I got to give him credit. 7 strikeouts, only gave up 4 hits. Their bullpen was pretty much impeccable. Chad Green, of course, coming in and closing the door. How obvious that was going to happen, getting the save against the Yankees. But Marcus Stroman once again looked like, in my opinion, the ace of the Yankees until Cole comes back. Ferg, I don't know what he was doing, pitching high and inside to a guy that loves high and inside pitches. They were saying like, yeah, he loves them high and inside. He throws boom, and you're like, are you kidding me?
It's ridiculous.
I
love, by the way, that Stroman brought a positive energy to
the do-rag
Yankee Stadium and just pitching for the Yankees, because it does seem like in some ways everyone says they want to be a Yankee, and then they get here and it's super uptight.
He
and everyone
always
seems
wanted
like they're
to be
worried.
a Yankee. It's clear.
Yeah, he seemed comfortable, and then pregame, he's like revving up the crowd, and like he clearly wasn't worried about what he was going to do at Yankee Stadium today. It was essentially a matter of if we were going to score runs. We didn't, and we paid for it. I personally would have loved to see Aaron Boone bring Stroman out for that 7th inning just to throw to a hitter so he could have got a standing O. I tweeted about it, and I just felt like he earned that today, especially given the fact that we obviously lost Johnny Lowe today and we were short with our bullpen. I didn't really trust a lot of the guys that came out, and I felt like Stroman could have been trusted against a lefty to start off the inning, and they didn't do it. Unfortunately, we didn't score any runs, and it turns into an L. But I got to give a special shout out to Emil Jimenez, who's the home plate umpire today. He was absolutely butt water, horrible, couldn't have been worse. And shout out to the Yes Network broadcast as well, because they usually bring up a pretty solid point, and that point was that Jimenez has a pitcher's zone, which in short means he doesn't know where the strike zone is, and the hitters have to make the necessary adjustments to accommodate for that. And you'd like to believe, well, if as long as they're consistent, it is fine. But when that consistent is 6 inches off the plate each and every time, you saw it to Soto, you saw it to many hitters today, it's just not gonna turn into runs for any baseball team. And so we paid for that today.
Yeah, no, that was not fun. Not fun at all. Something else that's not fun is, when you go to a game, and I feel for everybody that was out there, because I mean, there was a freaking earthquake today. No, I'm kidding. It was 4.8. We're all good. But no, everyone that was out there watched some pretty pathetic offense. And, I mentioned, well, I didn't mention it, but I typed it out in the ticker below. They were shut out at home opener, first time since 1967. So
is that bad?
If you're following something, if you're following trends, remember the last time the Yankees did this, I was talking about them winning the World Series. The last time they did this, they won 72 games. So,
right.
Yeah, we're already all the good, and we're becoming the Pirates. No, I'm just kidding. I really think they're gonna figure this thing out. But I think we're right and they're wrong. Anthony Volpe is the leadoff hitter, and I think it's time to make that decision. You can say what you will. Oh, he's hitting better because he's 6th, 7th, whatever. No. Like, this isn't, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's not like Torres is batting, 400 and Soto hasn't gone like 0 for his last 12. I know he hasn't, but it's close to that. At this point, Volpe needs to lead off. Like, what's the Bernie Sanders meme with the gun? I'm no longer asking.
Yeah. Okay. No, hold on one second, Jake. So you're talking about Anthony Volpe hitting leadoff, something that we've talked about, right? And we've talked about that at depth. But here's the thing. I've heard this a lot as a rebuttal. Okay. Anthony Volpe, I like where he's at. Says half of Yankees allure. I like where he's at. He's hidden down at 7th in the lineup, and there's no pressure on the kid. Well, since when was that a good thing? Since when did we protect this asset? Someone that we essentially called untradeable, and rightfully so. You see how he's playing.
Yeah.
But which superstar is it that came up in the big leagues and then began to establish himself as a dominant figure in an offense, and then they hit him at 7th in the lineup? How long did Bryce Harper hit 7th for the Washington Nationals? How long was Juan Soto hitting 8th for the Washington Nationals? When did that happen?
It's just stupid. I mean, I don't mean the people are stupid. I'm just saying it's a stupid thing. Like, also, this is one of those lineups where I think Boone is trying to do too much. Stanton should never in a million years at this point in time. I mean, I think he should be DFA'd. I think you should just eat the cost now. I don't think Stanton's worth it. I'll say it all day until I'm blue in the face. And it's sad for me to say, because I don't think Stanton's worth it. He's batting 125. People are like, he made all these adjustments. Remember like those Twitter, analysis tweets with like, oh, you see, he changed his foot placement. He has the same swing. He looks like George Washington cutting down a tree, like you said.
His foot, I don't give a damn where his foot is. His foot could be in New Jersey for all I care. He's not hitting. And here's the crazy part. So you say to DFA him now. In my opinion, I probably wait till Spencer Jones is ready. The second that happens, sayonara.
Like, my thing is, and this is really where I stand on this. Why not DFA him now? Eat the money now.
Okay.
Just stop the bleeding. And just save Judge early on the season. Judge doesn't need to be out in center field. Put Judge at DH.
Right.
And now what you can do is you can call up Everson Pereira. Give this guy an opportunity to show what he is, if he's a part of your roster or not. And at the very least, like if he does like really well, you could trade him. Like you could really bulk up his value by giving him an opportunity.
Right, because Everson Pereira has no role in the Yankees organization after Spencer Jones and after
Dominguez will be back in probably July. So you bring up Pereira right now and you push up his value, right? And then Dominguez comes up, and then it's like, notice comes back July. When's the trade deadline? The next month. You could trade Pereira, and I like Pereira. So like, if they didn't have to trade him, I wouldn't be against keeping him. But my point is, there is no point to having Stanton in the lineup being the designated hitter, because the designated hitter, what that means is that you are really good at hitting and you're not good in the field, but your bat is a plus. Stanton's bat has not been a plus in 2.5 years. Okay. Period. And I'm sorry. Like, he is done. I've seen it. He's done. He's not coming back from this. He might hit 20 home runs this year, 24, 25. He's going to bat 167 if the way this is keeping up.
Honestly, hiring Giancarlo Stanton as of now to be a designated hitter is like hiring a blind hitman. It doesn't work.
No.
And this is not anything against Giancarlo Stanton, because let's be clear about one thing. When we started this podcast, I mentioned how clutch he was. And I also mentioned that when we talk about whether a contract is a bust or not, or if he performed on that contract, part of that is what you do when the lights are brightest. And one thing that you can never take away from Giancarlo is that Yankee Stadium and being a Yankee in the postseason never got the best of him. He always performed. But we're talking about 2024. Right now in 2024, he is completely overmatched. And not just that, he was overmatched in 2023. We're talking about a long period of time that he's been overmatched at the plate. So having said that, you can't just simply justify someone being a designated hitter because you're paying him $32 million this year, $32 million next year. These are all factors. $27 million the next 2 seasons after those 2 seasons. And then the Yankees have a player option to which they will opt out of, a team option. That is a long time. So realistically, you have to say it's not a matter of do we DFA him now. It's a matter of just like, it's really just a matter of when, because you can't really justify 3 years from now. What do you have any idea what Giancarlo is going to look like 3 years from now?
Yeah, that's the thing. And notice I'm like throwing in the towel. Like I think we talked about it, off air last year where we're like, well, you could give up prospects and somebody would take him on. No one is taking him on.
No, no way.
There is not a single team. You could offer Spencer Jones, they'd be like, oh hell no. They're not taking him on.
No.
They're not taking him on. And so, I thought it was interesting because I was like, maybe am I jumping to conclusions here? Like maybe it's early. And to be fair, Stanton's splits in April and March are the worst. His batting average for his career is 254, which is tied for July, which is his worst month. Actually, September, October is 241. But in May, it goes up to 275, goes back down to 259. Now, this is for his career, which is kind of not really telling the full story. So let's go back to 2023. And what are Stanton's splits in 2023 as far as month? Because I think month kind of gives you an idea.
Definitely.
In 2023, he hit 269, which is by far his best month. So this isn't somebody that gets off to like wicked slow starts. That's actually when he normally hits well.
He typically hits well when it's warm. So,
well, he was hitting 269 last year in April and March, and he then hit 145 in June, 198 in July.
How do you hit 145 in June?
That's what I'm saying. September, October, 136. Okay, let's look at 2022, right? Let's just be fair here. 2022, his splits. Okay, April, March, he batted 269. He hit 301 in May. He hit 176 in June, 156 in July, 130 in August, and 174 in September, October. The point is, Stanton, since, let's just say, June of 2022, has disappeared. He's not the same player.
He hasn't even been inconsistent. Because remember, I said, as long as he's inconsistently great, we can justify him being on this team, because at some point he's just going to turn it on and carry us for 6 weeks. But the issue is we're talking about an extended period of time where he's just been consistently butt water. We're talking about 2022. He hit 211. The following year, we all talked about a bounce back season. Giancarlo usually gets off the mat, and that is true, objectively true. He shows back up in 2023 with a more prominent role. Josh Donaldson, we all were down on him. He goes and hits 191. That's just not going to get it done. That's not a professional hitter at that point.
No.
Okay. A 191 batting average. I don't give a rip what else he did. Okay. I don't care. He struck out 124 times and 371 at bats. That's just not a professional hitter. And we're putting him after Aaron Judge today, which essentially took the bat out of Judge's hands. He's not swinging a hot bat. He kind of bounced back towards the end of that Arizona series. It changed the way Aaron Judge was pitched today. They flat out didn't throw to him. And I was texting one of my buddies and I said, why would you throw to Aaron Judge here? Giancarlo Stanton sitting on deck. That's not anything personal against Giancarlo. He's a great dude. He works hard. He's accountable. But when you look at his numbers, since 2.5 years ago, he's been an automatic out. So at that point, you can't have a guy hitting. Was he hitting fourth or fifth today?
He hit fourth.
It
so
is
not only that you
blasphemy.
took away the righty lefty, you literally, like, this is what I mean. Like, I think Boone just tried to be too creative with the lineup today, and it's just like, no, don't ever do that again. Throw that lineup right in the garbage. Stanton, okay, 28 at bats this year, 15 strikeouts. I mean,
striking out more than half the time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and look, this is not to just like, basically, we're not placing the entire blame on Stanton for the day. This is just, Stanton is just not effective. Now he's just in the way.
Can we date back to March 28th here for just a second, Jake?
Yeah,
March
date back to
28th,
March 28th.
Giancarlo struck out twice. Okay, and when you strike out twice,
He
it's
struck
not
out
a good
twice
day,
today.
unless you're driving the baseball. If you're driving the ball, that's where your ops is going to start to spike. That's where value starts to come in. That's the reason he's on the team. Okay, so March 28th, he strikes out twice. Unfortunate day. The following day, he happened to strike out twice. What do you think he did March 31st? March 31st through today, he struck out twice every single day. Every single game since March 28th, he struck out. And that's just when my graph ends. What are we doing here?
And like, get this. So in 2021, his first half splits. So first half, not monthly, but
Right.
monthly looks good, like good too. First half, 270 batting average, 15 homers, and an 848 OPS. Right? It's pretty
Right.
good. I'll sign up for that. Give me that right now. Second half, 20 homers, 55 RBIs, 275 batting average, and an 890 OPS. So he hit 35 bombs and batted 270. Are you ever going to see that again? Absolutely not. So why? This is 2021, dude. Like, he hasn't been anywhere near that. And
No,
this
we're
is
not
why
even
he's
close. We're
this
not
is
even
what
close to
people keep
2021.
talking about. They keep saying, they keep acting like 2021 was 2023. When you hear the defense for Giancarlo Stanton, it is always, well, he's shown. No, he hasn't shown. Wake up. In June of 2022, that is when he fell off a cliff. And when you fall off a cliff, Gary, I mean, I've never fallen off a cliff before, but like, you don't just magically levitate back up to the top. You hit the bottom.
No, you're absolutely right. And Jake, did you just tell me that Giancarlo, so essentially the stats say he hasn't been what we need him to be since 2021?
Exactly.
So the first Dune
It's
came out in
2024, by the
2021.
way.
Yes. The first Dune came out in 2021. Dune 2 just came out. That's the last time that and this is, we're not trying to be funny. We're trying to give you guys a visualization of how long it's been since we've gotten adequate performance out of this player. This is nothing personal. And then we're trying to use that context to draw a conclusion about what we can expect in the short term and the long term. And to Jake's point earlier, he's saying we should DFA him now. I'm saying the second you have an option or believe that you have an option that can perform better, don't talk to me about his contractual obligation. I don't give a rip about that. You have to pay him regardless. So it's a matter of if you're getting value out of whoever is DHing or playing left field, or you're not. And the New York Yankees have to be honest with themselves and say, do we or do we not believe, based on these numbers, that he's going to perform? And right now, there's no reason to believe that he's going to perform. And that's disappointing.
What's even weirder is I'm looking at his baseball reference page, and apparently his pronunciation is Giancarlo. That is the craziest thing. I didn't even know that.
I don't even care. His name could be anything at this point.
Yeah. I love these nicknames: Bigfoot, Cruz, Giancarlo. Like,
yeah, he's Bigfoot because he disappeared.
I've never heard of that. My favorite of what you said was when you're like, I don't care where his foot is. His foot could be in New Jersey for all I care.
No,
but
seriously.
I agree with you.
Come on.
I agree with you. And it's why I brought up because look, am I hating on Giancarlo? Maybe a little bit, but look, if he was hitting well, this isn't like a player I dislike. This is a player that is not playing well, that I'm tired of watching not play well. It's really that simple. And the problem is he's 34. So what did we just talk about a few episodes ago with DJ LeMahieu? Once you start showing injuries into your 30s, it just all down the hill from there. The reason John Birdie is still valuable in his 30s is because he hasn't gotten hurt. He stayed healthy. Also, you had brought up, he hasn't played a ton. Like, you see the at-bats, you see the games. Like, Stanton is not going to get any better. And unfortunately, by him going up there, all that does is it just gives you an automatic out. It like basically the other team now gets to pitch around your stars. if you have Stanton in your lineup. And if you're going to have Stanton in your lineup, put him at 8th, put him at 9th, put him at 7th. Don't put him in the cleanup spot. Like I really have started to like Boone over the last year or so. Like I think he's a good dude, and I think he means well, and I think he has a chance, and he should win a World Series. I think it's fair to say I think he's a World Series level manager, because I think there are guys that have won World Series that are not as good as him. With that said, man, Boone has to know better. To put Stanton in the cleanup spot is insane. Like you just
Wouldn't
said,
we say though? Wouldn't we say that
strikeouts,
keeping Aaron Judge healthy is probably the most important thing this team could do?
Yeah, but instead they're more focused on wasting a DH spot with Stan. And that's the thing. Not only are they wasting a DH spot with Stan, he can't play in the field. He is useless to this team. He is detrimental to the future of this team, because if they keep him throughout his contract, it's going to be the same thing when they had A-Rod on that second contract they shouldn't have signed him to. And I love A-Rod, right? But they should not have signed him in that second contract, because guess what that does? Well, paying him all this money, so we have to play him at third. It's like, no. What are you? He's way worse than A-Rod was. This is way worse than
it's not
A-Rod.
close.
It is and then not remotely close.
No, we also have expectations to win, because you have to remember, Juan Soto's here on a 1-year deal. More than likely, he's going to be resigned. But having said that, you have to just assume he's not. And this is a whole 1-year thing. This is a 1-year, let's go do it right now. We just showed what we can do against Houston. That was great. But if you're looking at this team, you can't tell me that the best way to go win a championship is to put someone on the field. The same reason we put Josh Donaldson on the field last year, where we said, well, he's probably not worth starting, but we're paying him $25 million. So that's the reason why he's playing. Okay. They may not say that, but everyone knows that's why Donaldson was playing. Donaldson knows that's why he was playing. So having said that, that didn't help last year's team win any more than 82 games.
That's the worst way to manage a team.
It's the worst thing you can possibly do. So if you're looking at this roster, you cannot possibly look at let's just look at the hitters that hit below Giancarlo today. We're talking about Rizzo, Volpe, Verdugo, Birdie, and then we'll use Trevino. Trevino is the only player who's a worse at bat than Giancarlo as it stands today. That cannot happen when your 8-hitter is a more professional at bat at the moment than your 4-hitter. Then here's what it means. It doesn't mean that 4-hitter's atrocious. Here's what it means. It means that day, at the very least, he should not be hitting 4th. So if you want to eventually DFA Giancarlo, let's just say next year, right? Everyone has this rough estimate. This is his last year. At the very least, if you're talking that way about a player, that guy should be hitting 8th, 7th, or 9th. That's where those hitters hit. You don't say, hey, we're going to hit a guy 4th, but if he doesn't perform, we're going to DFA him. No, that's just playing mental gymnastics and psychological warfare, trying to convince yourself that we're basically putting false confidence into Giancarlo. And then people are going to tell us a week from today and say, hey, Giancarlo, he left the yard today. Did he shut you guys up? No, he didn't. Because here's something that we need to discuss, Jake. You need to be good more than once every week and a half. That's part of hitting. Who are you most of the time? What can I expect from you tomorrow? And if I can basically say he's going to do nothing today, tomorrow, and the next day, but 4 days from now, he might leave the yard twice against who cares 4-starter, that's not justifying hitting 4th, 5th, or 6th. That guy should be slid down the lineup, or to your point, you need to call somebody up and build their value. And I completely agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to crap on the All-Star game real quick, if you're down for it.
Go ahead.
He's only a one-time All-Star with the Yankees. The only year he was an All-Star for the Yankees was 2022.
He's essentially, let me say this, he's essentially been a designated.
Insane, by the way. He should have been an All-Star probably in 2018 when he batted 266 at 38 bombs.
Yeah.
let's just be honest here. This trade didn't work out the way the Yankees wanted it to. Now, they didn't give up a ton for him, to be fair. But 2018 was, you will take 2018, 38 home runs, 266. I mean, he never had more than an 894 OPS, which isn't great. He had 1,000, with the Marlins. It's very good. It's not great. Great's in the 900s. 2018, he had a great year, in my opinion. And it wasn't even a year that they were hoping for, but it was a really good year in 2018. At age 28, they keep in mind, they traded for him for the age 28, 29, age 30, 31, and 32 seasons. They didn't trade for him for the age 34 season. This is them holding on to hope on a miracle. Like, you're more likely to win the Powerball than Giancarlo Stanton is to go back to where he was. Let's be honest here. They were dealt a bad deck in a sense. Stanton had never shown that he would ever get hurt on that level. 2019 and 2020, they were robbed of his 29 years old season and his 30-year-old season. And so then he comes back, and we got to give him a lot of credit because he came back from those injuries, and he had a really good year in 2021, 35 home runs, 273. He has not been anywhere near that since. So the fact of the matter is that, and it's funny that that's the only All-Star game yet. The fact of the matter is that this is done. This is over. This is there's no, Tom Brady played until he was 46 and he was still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Stan hasn't been even close to one of the more feared hitters in the league. He hasn't been a feared hitter since 2018. That's when people looked at him like he was one of the most feared hitters in baseball. He's not a feared hitter. He's a guy that could potentially hit that bomb, but there's so many ways to get Stanton out. And that sweeping slider
when he was 42.
Yeah. And that sweeping slider on the other side of the plate in the other batter's box, he swings at it like, he's holding a garden hose. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry. We've spent this whole time talking about Stanton, but really, what else are you going to talk about in a day where, really none of the offense hit? No one played well aside from Volpe. Give Verdugo credit for the hit, Birdie credit for the hit, Rizzo credit for the hit. They tried to have some really last ditch 2-out rally that Verdugo just got underneath. Would have been great for him to hit that one. Can you imagine? But in all honesty, though, when you put out a lineup with Trevino in it and you have Stanton in that lineup, you know those memes with the starter packs? That's like a lost starter pack. Like, I immediately saw that lineup and was just like, I have a bad feeling about today. I saw Trevino and I was like,
I thought that was good.
I do. And I already know people are going to jump on him because of the error. That's a tough play. You ever play third and have a freaking a ball come up like that? It took a weird bounce. Yeah, okay, maybe he should have, gloved it a little bit better. That's a tough play. He still almost got him out too.
No, it was a mistake. And so this is the thing. Let's just say the error was even worse than that. Yeah. That happens. But one thing I can say about Birdie is that when he comes in every game, and this goes for the most part, the entire lineup, I know why that guy's in there. I know why Verdugo is playing left field today.
Why was Trevino?
He's a bat to ball guy. I don't know why he plays.
So, well, I got to ask you, because so I'm going to go back and check here, but is that Stroman's preferential catcher? Is that what we're doing here? I just look, Stroman is the ace right now until Cole comes back, to be fair, but no, because Wells was the catcher his first game. So Gary, I'm done.
Well, no, at least it debunks the fact that we're doing designated catchers. That's not it. So
no, that just means that Boone really just screwed up today.
No, they genuinely are they're essentially saying Trevino is that much better of a catcher than Wells that we'll give up the bat. Okay. They're essentially going like Benji Molina mode. That's literally what this is saying.
So Jose Trevino is batting .083.
Oh, I explained that to my wife today. I said, do you realize Trevino's hitting .083? And she goes, what's that? I said, that means he gets a hit just over 8% of the time. Now, I don't care about Trevino can get mad at me if I say this. I really don't care. When you're
He
getting a
already
hit
unfollowed you.
8%, he already unfollowed me on Twitter. I don't give a rat's ass. I don't. If you get a hit 8% of the time, hitting in the big leagues is very difficult. You have to give everyone credit who does so. But when you're hitting 083 on the season and you're supposed to be a designated catcher and you play behind the plate the way he did today, for anyone who actually watched the game, he was atrocious behind the plate. There's no reason why, in comparison, Trevino can have a role in Major League Baseball. I don't doubt that he's a professional baseball player. What I doubt is that he's a better baseball player and gives us a better chance to win today than Austin Wells. That's what I doubt. So this is nothing personal. This is more so of what options are at our disposal and which options should we go with. In my opinion, Austin Wells has not only put up better numbers, but just in the short term, he's shown more tools and a higher ceiling that this team, frankly, has to accomplish. They have to get that ceiling out of him, because without it, you're putting more pressure on our superstars, and that's just something we shouldn't do.
I mean, at this point, if he's going to hit 086, I mean, Ben Rortvet might have been a better option. I mean, that's really what we're getting at, is that it really gets down to like Ben Rice in AAA. So last year, for those of you who don't know, Ben Rice batted 324, went all the way up from single A. He went to double A. He batted 324. He had an over 1,000 OPS. He hit 20 bombs, 68 RBIs. He had a 434 on base percentage. I'd rather see him than see Trevino. I mean, I'd rather just see Wells, because Wells needs these reps. Wells needs to be an everyday catcher. Please, for the love of God, stop trying to make this a timeshare. I swear to God, and I'll I do this all the time. I relate it back to football. You have I'm not saying he's elite, right? But you have a good running back that is averaging, I don't know, 5 yards a carry. So every 2 carries, he's averaging a first down. It's good, right? You're essentially like, and by the way, he's the younger guy. He's like 22, 23 years old. But you keep bringing in that 32-year-old running back.
They're bringing in Adrian Peterson.
Well, he was like 38, but you're bringing in the 32-year-old running back who's averaging 2.2 yards per carry. And the argument is, well, he's a better pass protector, but the 23-year-old, 22, 23-year-old running back has really closed the gap, has gotten way better in pass pro, and just doesn't have that reputation yet. But he has, like, if you're paying attention, but you're just like, no, because this guy has the reputation. That is Trevino. Trevino has this reputation of this defensive catcher. And I got to be honest with you, I don't think he's better than Wells anymore. And I think it's entirely realistic to say that, because Trevino had an injury that I think could actually have taken some time off of his career. And my thing is, if you're going to put him in over Wells, then he needs to not only be a good defensive catcher, he better be the best freaking defensive catcher in Major League Baseball.
He better be Yadier Molina.
And he's
and
just
by the
not.
way, so here's the thing. In recent history, he's been a very good catcher. But this is the thing. Just because you're a very good catcher doesn't mean you should play. Okay? If you had a Gold Glove guaranteed catcher behind the plate, and then you had Jorge Posada sitting on the bench, and I'm not saying Austin Wells is Jorge Posada, but what I am saying is that if somebody can offer you solid defense and a very good bat, I would probably take that in comparison as an overall player and as an overall asset, as opposed to someone who is very good at one thing and atrocious at the other. Because dating back to the All-Star game of literally, was it last year? Like over a year from today? Or was it the year prior where Trevino was at the All-Star game?
Oh, it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
It was 2 years ago.
2 years
so
ago.
we can't even use his bat as a factor whatsoever in this decision.
And that was just half a season. The second half, he was horrible.
Yeah. So it was, yes. So it was essentially 2 years ago. He played a really good offensive first half of his year. And then from that point forward, it's essentially leveraged him into a starting role that we're not comfortable giving Austin Wells the keys. At some point or another, Austin Wells needs to be given a bigger responsibility. Anthony Volpe needs to be given more responsibility, and the Yankees will be happy for it. Like, they're going to actually benefit, in my opinion. This is not about development. This is about playing the best players at every position. And that's something that should just be a prerequisite for every team that's trying to win.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand you can't play a catcher every day. It's a really demanding position. And if you look, I mean, you go back to Jorge Posada, and he had only 150 games once in his career. That's normal, right? Like, but the pace that this is at, it's like Wells might not even play 120 games. It's like they really are going for this timeshare. So look, my thing is, when Jorge Posada didn't play, they had John Flaherty. Flaherty was underrated. He did not get enough credit for his glove. He didn't get enough credit for his bat. Bad 267 his first year in New York, age 35. Bad 252 in 2004, and then fell off a cliff at age 37. He batted 165. Notice I said fell off a cliff at age 37, bad 165. That's better than what Trevino's doing right now. Now, I understand it's early on, Gary. I get that. It's been 8 games, but like even still, this isn't good. Like, this is a really, really bad start for Trevino, and there's nothing to show that this is a bad start and like he's going to recover, and that this isn't just who he is. Like, ultimately, we just saw what's his face hit a home run the other day, Higashioka for the Padres, and the big reason why they won that game against the Cardinals. Higashioka is an upgrade over Trevino. Like, that's where we're at right now, is that his bat is so bad that it's really put the Yankees in a bad spot. Like, where you can't even have these lineups without people like myself thinking like, oh boy, I don't have a good feeling about today.
No, offensively, I wouldn't really worry about Trevino if he ended the season the way DJ LeMahieu did last year, because remember, like we did say, at some point or another, players are going to play well, whether it's first half, second half, middle of the year, towards All-Star break. At some point, they're going to play well, and then you can kind of justify your decision with confirmation bias. But Trevino hasn't hit at all in over 2 years. Yeah. So you don't watch someone hit terrible for 2 years and then say, hey, he started the year off. Yeah, it's only 8 games. Don't worry, he'll come around. Why?
Yeah.
What exactly. Made you think that?
Where's that's
where I'm
point?
Coming from.
No,
yeah, like,
I agree
is
with you.
That case study just isn't making sense. So, yes, I think we're in agreement that Austin Wells should be given an opportunity not to play 150 games, but to go out there, and anytime his body feels fresh, he should be out there catching for the Yankees and giving them a better chance to win, because today was just not it.
And if you really don't think Austin Wells can go, say, 140 games, then the deadline, I'd make a move for a backup catcher. Not even kidding. And I know that they checked in on Contreras. It was 2 years ago. They checked in on Contreras. So they've shown interest in that.
I'm fine having Trevino on the team. I know you're not. I mean, that's perfectly valid.
Yeah.
I'm fine having Trevino out there, but every time I see his name, I should think immediately. I should go, oh, they're giving Wells a day, so like he needs it. That should be why I see him. Not because, like today, for example, he played today because the Yankees thought it gave them the best chance to win. That's why he's there. That right there is a recipe to lose games. That's 8 hitters in your 9-man lineup. That's all that was.
Also, it's not like Austin Wells just played 6 games in a row with no break. They just had a day off. And that's the thing. Like, why are we seeing Stanton? Why are we seeing Trevino in this lineup on a day off? They gave Oswaldo Cabrera a double day off. That also, I think, hurt their lineup today.
That's blasphemous.
Isn't that? But we didn't talk about that, and we'll wrap this up in a sec here. But isn't that funny? We're at a point with the Yankees right now. You go back to our preseason video, and we were like, I don't know if Cabrera can be the guy. John Birdie's going to be the guy. I'm not hating on John Birdie playing, but I am hating on not having Oswaldo Cabrera at the dish because Cabrera has been hot. Has he figured it out? We don't know. What I do know is that just about every game, it's Cabrera and Volpe who are coming through. And magically, Volpe's the only one who hit, and they lost today, and Cabrera's not in the lineup. And
No,
it
but you can
really,
make the justification that Judge could have DH today, take Stan completely out the lineup, and have
absolutely.
Birdie in the outfield. And suddenly, look at that. Third base is wide open for
I just
Cabrera, who's been one of our hottest bats.
I just don't understand. I mean, he's hitting 346. He's got 1,000 OPS, and they just were like, you know what? Even though he had a day off yesterday, we're going to do a double day off. And opening day, home opener, you get this young third baseman. Crowd is probably getting excited for Cabrera again. He's 25 years old, right? And you decide, no, we're going to give him another day off, even though everybody got a day off yesterday. That might be the most insane thing about today that I just realized because we were so focused on Stanton and Trevino that I thought something was off about this lineup. And I'm actually more surprised that we are talking right now after we were talking about him beforehand. We're talking about him right now. Cabrera is a missing piece. Like, what are we doing here? What is this team?
It goes to show you the state of DH.
Oh, yeah.
DH and catcher right now are just black holes. DH and catcher for the New York Yankees, and it happened to be our 4-hitter and our 9-hitter. We're just complete, utter outs. Not even close. 0 for 7 with 4Ks. They were just not close.
When you go against the NL, now that they have DH, they have guys. They've made those moves.
Yeah.
They don't have automatic outs. Guess who the DH for the Blue Jays is? Justin Turner today.
Yeah.
Okay, so Justin Turner is the ageless wonder. Dude's like, what, 39 at this point? Literally 39. He's 39. He's hitting 280, and he didn't really get anything done today, but he got a walk. And
well, he hit a ball hard today.
He hit a ball hard, but I mean, he didn't get a hit. But like Turner's somebody where he's hitting cleanup and Stanton's hitting cleanup. And the difference between the two is Turner could hit leadoff with how often he's on base. And Stanton should be hitting 9th. Like, I mean, it's so bad. Stanton shouldn't even be in the lineup.
He should be hitting 0th.
He should be hitting 0th. Yeah. Oh man, it's frustrating. I don't want to go too crazy. They're 6-2. A lot of reason to feel good. Real quick, talking about tomorrow. They got, of course, the Blue Jays at 7:05. It's Kevin Gausman, so it doesn't get any easier. I think he historically does really well against Judge, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong on that. So Gausman versus Clark Schmidt. I think tomorrow's the bullpen game, man. I think tomorrow's the bullpen game. I think Clark Schmidt goes, I'll say 5 innings.
Okay, well, I called their pitcher today, Kabuti, and he went out and looked like Sandy Koufax. So I'm going to say that Gausman is Kurt Schilling. So hopefully we can put a bat on a ball tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah. So, I think the Yankees win tomorrow. I think we get an Ian Hamilton, a nice ham sandwich, 2 and 2/3 innings special there. Cause I mean, they had the off day. That's going to help with the bullpen budget. Definitely. And then I think we get, they're pushing a little bit, but I think we get a Clay Holmes save.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I can see that. I mean, we're just flat out going to have to hit. That's just
I mean,
is.
tomorrow, I think they hit better. I think Oswaldo Cabrera gives some fire to the lineup. He'll be back in it. Again, it also begs the question, why the hell do you want him hitting 8th? There's no justifications out the window if you have Oswaldo Cabrera hitting the way he is, batting 9th and 8th, and then you have Stanton hitting cleanup the way he's batting.
Well, is Giancarlo, do you think he's going to play tomorrow?
I hope not.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody hopes he is except for him, but I mean, he might not even hope at this point, but yeah, realistically, do you think he's going to play? I mean, come on.
So realistically, I do. Because they had the day off. So I think all right, so tomorrow's lineup will probably be Torres, Soto, Judge. They'll go back to Rizzo and cleanup.
Oh my gosh.
Stan will bat 5.
Why?
Volpe,
like, why are we sitting here projecting Volpe to hit anywhere outside of the top 6?
I know. Volpe will probably hit 6th. Verdugo hits 7th. Cabrera will hit 8th, and Wells will hit 9th. If Wells is not in the lineup tomorrow and Stanton is in the lineup tomorrow, so if Stanton and Trevino, if we get the Stanton and Trevino special, then I like just know that this is null and void and it's a loss. Okay. I'm calling it now. They'll win this game, but if that lineup is out there, they lose. I think
Well,
they need
if
Cabrera.
Wells isn't playing tomorrow, it just goes to show me that somehow, and we've given Boone so much credit because I feel like he's actually managed fantastic.
He has. He's been great to this point. I think this is his worst game of the year.
Yes.
Easily.
If Wells is not playing tomorrow, I'm convinced that he was flat out on his phone in the dugout today. That's what I'm going to say. That's all I got to say about it. And I will call that out. So,
Wells, can we never see pass balls like that again? Good God.
What pass? What, you don't like a catcher who's alligator arming the ball behind the plate, and then he also isn't expected to hit?
By the way,
what's not to love?
Okay, yeah, I said pass balls, not wild pitch. Yeah, because that was all on Trevino.
One of them was for sure on him. The other one, I would say, what's his face? He basically, Birdie. He basically threw the ball at George Springer. So, so that I can't blame on Trevino, but it was just a waste of a performance.
It was atrocious. One last thing I'll say: Yankees left 7 on base. They only grounded into 1 double play today, mainly because they didn't really get guys on. Guess who grounded into the double play?
I missed it. Who did?
Trevino.
Oh, that's right. Wait, how did I not know that? I actually tweeted. So no, hold on one second. I tweeted and I said, "Hey, look at this situation. Trevino clearly hitting 9th, which he couldn't hit anywhere else in the lineup." And that means that we're turning over the lineup. There was 0 outs and a man on first base. And I said, it actually would probably be a good situational out for Trevino to either get a hit or strike out. I would rather him strike out in this situation and at least provide the top of the lineup with an opportunity, such as Gleyber Torres or Juan Soto or Aaron Judge,
instead of putting Torres up there with 2 outs, which is exactly what happened.
It was exactly what you want. So, yeah, of course, he rolled into a double play. He's not going to be legging anything out. But as you would expect, he put the ball on the ground, and the rest was history.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what we're going to, title this video, but I think I might put DFA Stanton or something in it.
Yeah, so that people have an understanding. Yeah, definitely.
Went a little bit longer than we expected. We wanted to keep, losing episodes, shorter, but you guys could blow our minds and make this thing go crazy. So we'll see how many people view this. And appreciate you guys. Be sure to follow Gary at Gary Sheffield Jr. Be sure to follow me at JK Bogan and follow this show at Yankees Unloaded on all social media. We are everywhere right now. Gary had a nice little semi-viral, Instagram reel happen. So our slowly but surely our Instagram has over 30 followers now, which is kind of cool.
We're Insta famous now.
We're Insta famous, 30 followers, man. Soon we'll get verified.
I'm going to go buy my blue check mark now.
So appreciate you guys as always. Keep it right here on this channel. We'll have plenty of content, shorts, and so forth. We got a game tomorrow, 7 Eastern time. It's Kevin Gausman taking on Clark Schmidt. I got the Yankees.
I don't like the matchup. And I said this against Gallen. It's a tough matchup. You said Judge doesn't hit well against him. Judge is just flat out not hitting right now. And obviously, Giancarlo can't be relied on. But I do think the Yankees are going to come out with a better lineup tomorrow. I think they're forced to based on today. So I'm going to say that the Yankees, if they're going to lose, it's going to be narrow, very narrow. But I do agree with you. It's going to be a bullpen day.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a bullpen day. I think they have it's one of those games they can't hit Kevin Gausman. Then they bring in somebody, they get a hit. I think it's going to be like a 3-2 ball game.
Yep, completely agree.
So, all right, that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Like this video.